those. The kids we have over every couple of weekends, that's going to step up to every other weekend, but not for September, because they're going to be visiting Grandma and Granddad next week in North Michigan. But then after that, they'll be visiting us every other weekend. 3-year-old comes to stay over for a few hours Monday, Wednesday and Friday, but not today. So the kids can do their schoolwork. The mum's adopted to distance school learning, so they don't go into the classroom. They sit on their computers and watch the teacher do the teaching stuff. You seem to be not doing anything. That's not good. Let's get you moved on up there and restarted. I should do that myself. Do the cultivating while that's happening. Well, thanks. So yes, it's all kind of hectic right now. I did reopen the Ungertheim playthrough weekdays last week. I did 2 sessions. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we've got big SUVs, so that's not a big deal, and we're not moving refrigerators or stuff that needs a pickup. But yeah, no, so what was it? I started doing the Ungertheim stream, which we got to the end of year 1 and the harvesting of that, and there's still a good number of months left of the first year, and I had planned to stream that for 2 straight game years. We took a break because we moved and COVID and just everything was a mess. I got to do 2 streams last week. I was kind of planning to do 2 streams a week until we finish that series. Unfortunately, that might not be a thing, because the young lady who's going to be moving in with us is a gamer, and we need to encourage her to do other things than spend all day on the computer. And so that kind of means I need to do the same thing. And since we don't have an office room, the office is a continuous open area, although not open plan type of thing. It's sort of 3 rooms that don't have any doors, and that's the living room, the living room, dining room, kitchen, and the office. So if Mrs. Osa is going to end up watching TV, then I won't be able to stream with TV noise in the background. Although I do plan to do a recording attempt this week. It won't be a stream. It'll just be me recording something with the mic open, and I'll be talking, and then Mrs. Osa will be watching TV in the background. And we'll see how much noise gets picked up. If it's not too bad, I might be able to stream, but otherwise that won't be a thing. Kind of thinking I need to move that back in a minute, but we'll wait until the truck's full. Hold on, this is only a 49,000 litre truck. Oh. Okay, towards the end of the Saturday stream, we dropped off some silage bales to the BGA. I'm guessing those hadn't finished processing before we did that last tip. There we go, 48,000. So I'm going to move these further into the bunker. Hopefully that's good. that one. Also, it's entirely possible that the adoption worker will need to supervise the move because they like to feel important and do stuff. Whee! But that's pretty much what's been going on for us for the most part over the last few months. Obviously, we moved home about 2 weeks before COVID really got into the swing of things. So we managed to get our contractor to lay our floor, but that's kind of all he's been able to do so far. In the meantime, we did install new HVAC because that was 20 years old, and the furnace was in the house. The everything else is in the basement, and we discovered that there was some blockage in the condenser drain feed or drain, and it was causing sort of a blockage for the condensate to get away, and so it was getting into the ducts and leaking all over the basement. So we decided, okay, time to address that issue. We had the budget to do the HVAC, we just weren't planning to do it right this minute, and with the leaking into the basement, it was a case of, okay, this needs to get done now. We relocated the furnace into the basement, so there is absolutely no risk of condensate getting into the vents or the ductwork unless the basement is 6 feet underwater or 8 feet underwater, in which case flooding vents or ductwork is the least of our problems, because that would mean the entire backyard would be a lake as well. Right, I am also, well, my corporation is also listed as an essential because we are a steel and plastic supplier, and a lot of that goes on in the medical field. Plastics are used in ventilators and medical equipment. Metal is used to make beds. So how's that looking? That's 42,000. I'm just going to park the truck there. We'll go and do some cultivating for a while. And I'm IT, and we can work from home. So actually the business is quite happy because IT people can work from home. That's good. Can you work all the projects? And we've gotten a lot more done working from home than we do in the office, because surprisingly there's very little socializing goes on when you're working from home as compared to working in the office. So, dozens of projects completed. Sales are down about 30%, but that's because a lot of other people weren't working. Obviously, a lot of our trade is with, being in Michigan, Ford Chrysler and GM, and their requirements haven't been quite so great, especially initially when all the factories got closed down, and frankly building new cars is not considered a necessity. Who would have thought it? but also construction. We have a lot of construction people obviously building metal buildings, and that was shut down for, I want to say, about 3 months. Our wonderful governor decided, all construction can't happen. And our contractor was like, our contractor was like, this doesn't really affect me, because when I have a job, I turn up and I get to work. And the only people I really have interaction with are the guys down at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever to get building supplies or tools or stuff like that. He doesn't, when he's here, we don't see much of him. He turns up, he does a day's work, he goes home. The end. I think we might do. But we handle small orders. We do have online ordering, or call your local branch and they will. You can order as sort of general public, but you can also set yourself up as a long-term customer if what you're doing is, I want to order this stuff more frequently than anything else. So yes. In fact, the funny thing is, one of our customers is US Steel. They make steel, but they also do a lot of other work. And so we supply them with small pieces of steel. They need to patch an oil rig or something, they'll buy steel from us to do the patchwork, because they don't need huge sheets of 240 by 96, and it's just easier to order the sizes. Oh, that's fun. One of the few professions that is, well, I suppose outside of the Amish, is quite heavily dying out. Finding a blacksmith is quite a specialist trade these days, I understand. Farriers less so. That used to be a blacksmith job as well, but there's still people who will shoe horses. But there's not many people that do blacksmithing professionally. There's also, what's the other one? Thatcher. Doing thatched roofs. That in the UK, that's quite a serious thing, because if a building, I think, is over 100 years old, it effectively becomes what they call a listed building. It's an example of the architecture of that time. And the older the building gets, the more restrictive the listed building status becomes. So if you've got a castle from sort of 700 years ago, then you have to restore it in the exact condition that, or the exact materials or close to it. To maintain the exterior look of the building. And they sometimes allow a little bit of leeway inside. You can have electric trunking installed, because everything uses electricity these days, electric lights, that sort of thing. But if you've got an old building with thatched roofs, you have to find a professional thatcher to replace it every however many years it takes for the straw on the roof to decay and you need to replace it. It's good roofing material, but finding someone who can do it professionally is very, very difficult in the UK, which can be a little bit frustrating for people with some of the older sort of countryside housing. And trying to keep it restored in the condition that the government requires of it. So, I do remember during my childhood, there would usually be a blacksmith at the local county fair. I remember one doing wrought iron gate work as a demonstration at the fair, which was kind of interesting. Most things these days are manufactured in a machine. Which don't require the skills of a professional. Are you friends on Facebook or not? If you send me a message on Facebook, I'll give you information that you need. You can see how that works out. We got locations all the way across from Indiana to New England. And then as far south as St. Louis. And then we have a division down in Florida. A couple locations down there. Yes. Most of our branches stock commonly used stuff, and then we have a couple of huge warehouses which stock almost everything. Yeah, the sort of stuff that, we take orders for that maybe once a year. Okay, good for that. What is the time now? It's 10 o'clock. So we're going for about an hour. I'm pretty sure the BGA is not ready for another 48,000 litres of silage, so I forgot to lift that up while we were turning. I do think I am going to have to get up, close the back door though. Because it's getting a little humid and it's getting a little bit more overcast. As a blacksmith, can't you slowly upgrade your own equipment by building it yourself? These awkward little triangles are such a pain because you spend more of your time turning around than you do finishing off the work. But yeah, now as far as the house is concerned, and with an adoptive child moving in within potentially a month, Mrs. Osa and I are starting to look at what do we actually need around here, because we have a lot of plans, but it's just the two of us, so we don't have to do everything right away. I mean, when we left the last house, we had been one day intending to improve the bathrooms, and we never got round to it. And so moving out, it was sort of a case of these bathrooms need to look a lot nicer than they do. I mean, there was nothing wrong with them, everything worked. It's just that the paintwork was old, the flooring was old, and all we had done was paint the walls and tile the floor. That was it. And it made such a difference. And it's sort of, yeah, when we move into our new house, we need to do that as soon as we can. So since we have sort of the ensuite bathroom in our room and then another bathroom in the house, we're figuring we'd kind of like to get the other bathroom all nice and spruced up for the new arrival. Because as I said, it just makes so much of a difference. That's usually the case. I'm into model trains, so I seem to spend more of my time assembling benches and just generally laying down, carpentry stuff than I do modelling train stuff. Now we're actually situated in a house with a huge basement. We've got some prep work to do in the basement. Previous owner had put up a sort of wooden, the studs for a wooden room, for a room. Unfortunately, they were kind enough to leave a note that said this is not up to building standards, and all they'd done was put up the frame and then cover it in plastic so it could be used for her yoga, stretching, whatever. And the plastic kept that small area warmer, and she had a little standing heater in there to warm up that space without having to heat up the entire basement. But it's in the way, so that needs to come down. So that's our big job, that's one of our big jobs for the basement, is to just get it all cleared up so that we can actually use the space down there conveniently. And then we'll be setting up a sort of a small area for the kids to play in so that you can have crayons and you can have Play-Doh and other sticky substances that get ground into the carpet and mess everything up. Not that we have carpet anymore. But yeah, sort of little playroom down there for that sort of thing. Extra storage. We want a freezer. I don't know if we can buy freezers yet. The last I talked to someone at a appliance store, they said, we haven't seen upright freezers since February, and there might be some in September, but we're not sure. Well, it's September now, so I should probably check that out sometime. And Patchwork, good morning. Welcome to the stream, welcome to Monday, and happy Labour Day. When we got the HVAC installed, we did get some power outlets in the basement so that I can now run power tools down there, which I couldn't before. And we also got a couple of power outlets on the exterior wall, so I can now run power tools outside as well. Captain Zank, good morning and welcome to Monday. Seems everyone took the advantage of a holiday and take a lie-in. Cheers, Mrs. Osei still on that kick. And since we've had kids around the house for a lot recently, I think she's going to take full advantage of sleeping in. Yeah, it's a good thing. Well, actually, I don't feel too bad. I did have some work to do this weekend before Tuesday. Actually, I still do have, but I did the important stuff on Sunday morning. They were sort of saying, oh, we'll leave that until Monday. And then someone said, well, Monday's a holiday. Okay, we'll leave it till Tuesday. And us in IT said, well, how about we just do it sometime over the weekend since nobody's going to be working? Oh, yeah, that works. So, okay. Yeah, we haven't got to the what you want to be when you grow up stage. Last week she wanted to be an engineer, but that encompasses so much. So this week she decided she wants to be a maths teacher. So she's undecided. And it's no rush, I don't think. And I kind of figured what I wanted to be when I discovered the after school computer club. And as one of my schoolmates was in a room with a computer that I'd never seen before. And so he sort of, oh, come over here, have a look at this. Okay, fine. I can't get it to work. So I looked at it and I sort of, oh, well, not knowing anything about computers, I said, well, try this. And it still didn't work. And he was just basically doing the Hello World program where you just have a computer say, what's your name? You enter your name and it says hello, whatever you type in. Well, the thing I didn't know was, at least for that computer language, you had to put a $sign after character fields when you named them. So you couldn't say, print on the screen, what's your name, input A, you type in your name and then it would say hello A and say basically your name. So I called the teacher over and I said, what am I doing wrong here? And he said, oh, you need a $ if you want to put in characters. Oh, is that it? Yeah. So that was it. That was my introduction to computers. At that point, I picked up my bag and said, well, there you go, it's fixed. And went home. But, really never looked back. I didn't get a computer job straight out of school. I actually went to work retail for a number of years. And then I got my first computer job because I'd worked retail for a number of years. Because they were a retail operation and they wanted people who knew how retail operations worked. And I'd worked in a warehouse as a resupply for retail. I'd worked in a store ordering stuff from both the corporate warehouse and from external buyers, and I'd worked at checkout selling stuff. So they were sort of, oh, you've worked in a store, yeah, you can learn computers, you know, if so long as you've got the aptitude, we'll take you and teach you ourselves. So that was the start of my career in computing. I need to pull that further away from the end before I turn around, I think. It's a little bit close to the edge there. Maybe I'll do another bow leg so that we have more turnaround room. But yeah, no idea what New Edition wants to do yet. But that's fine. She has 5 years to at least come up with an idea of what she wants to do, and then the rest of her life to figure out how to do it. But yeah, for the late arrivers, the visit went well. And she will be back next weekend, starting out Friday evening through Sunday afternoon. But in the meantime, we have filled out all of the requisite paperwork. We've filled out the intent to adopt, and we've filled out the petition to reopen our foster license. And from now onwards, as soon as the foster license is open, she could move in with us immediately. And her adoption worker wants this to go as fast as possible, so moving in with us immediately is very likely to be a thing. Our adoption worker or guidance person has said that typically as soon as she puts in a request to reopen a foster license that was closed within the previous 12 months, it can take a matter of days to get that done. As I said earlier, potentially we could be looking at as early as Wednesday having our foster license reopened. Currently next week is planned as a visit, so come on Friday, leave on Sunday. We're not sure that next week is even if we get the license reopened, we're not sure next week will be a arrive on Friday and stay forever. I think there will probably be this one visit and then the following weekend maybe. But if it takes a couple of weeks to get the license open, then yeah, there's going to be more visits until the permanent move in. Okay, that's done. Fold that up. We can take this back down to the yard because we are done cultivating for